MetLife's recently introduced a new claims program which looks at a customer not just about their condition but also about the symptoms that they're experiencing. What this allows us to do is take into consideration a person's actual functional situation, their social situation, and their ability to actually incorporate or adapt into community as well as into work ultimately. So really what we're trying to do is look at a person holistically and to get a better understanding as to what they're able to do, what they're unable to do, and providing with the right support at the right time to actually build that. The other critical part for us is actually looking at how early we can actually intervene with a particular customer. So the earlier we can actually implement a strategy, the earlier we can actually implement a program to help support them to get back to normal function, the better they will be and the faster the outcome will be achieved. At MetLife, we do understand that every person is individual, every person has unique needs, and everyone needs a unique program to help them to support them to get back to their best life and their best health. Work's a normal part of most people's lives. So when people aren't working, they actually lose social connections. They lose connections to the people that they actually talk to for up to 40 hours a week. By not having those connections, it actually can change their life dramatically. Work is also a part of a person's ability to actually stimulate their mind and actually get self-satisfaction. So what we do tend to find is that once people are off work for a significant period of time, the likelihood of them being able to return to work reduces substantially. In fact, by the time someone gets to about 70 days out of work, the chance of them going back to work is reduced to about 50%. So we can see that if the earlier we can actually get people support, the earlier people can get people to understand what they are able to do, and the earlier we can get back to some sort of work, the better off they are for their future. Nourish is a rehabilitation program framework. So we have a team of health recovery specialists at MetLife, and these people have got an allied health background either in psychology, physiotherapy, occupational health. By utilising these people to actually better understand a customer's situation, we can work through with the customer a better understanding of their situation based on what we call domains of function. These could be their activities of daily living, a better understanding of their community integration, a better understanding of their vocational ability and skills. And by combining these domains, we can actually provide a program that actually supports the person to understand their symptoms and actually get back to their normal life. We've been doing this program now since the start of 2018, and so far we've had 150 of our members and customers go through this program. Success has been quite astounding. So far across these functioning domains, we've seen a 70% improvement in function across that portfolio of that group of people that have undertaken that program. And of that 70%, over a quarter have actually returned to meaningful work. So we're finding some really strong indications that the program's actually being successful. And also another indicator of the success of the program has been that we've seen a 300% increase in the number of people taking part in the program compared to a traditional rehabilitation program that's purely focused at return to work. So by focusing on return to health rather than return to work, what we're finding is a much better engagement and far better outcomes for our customers. At MetLife, we're really looking at what we can do to improve the claims journey for our customers, our members, our advisors, and our funds. Part of this is around what technology we can actually use to support a customer in making this journey simpler for them. One of the biggest impediments for a customer going through claim is all of the paperwork and all of the processes they need to follow. So if we can make that process simpler for a customer, we can then make it more efficient and we can actually make it a much more comfortable experience in a time where a customer is in need. Some of these innovations involve technology. One of these is our online claims lodgement tool. So to make this simpler, rather than having to fill in a multitude of paper forms, a customer can go online and fill in a form that actually helps them to complete their claim. This is far more efficient. It also provides questions that are reflexive. And what I mean by reflexive is if they answer a particular question in one way, it won't ask them a question that's actually irrelevant. So it actually streamlines the process. It only asks relevant information for the claim at the time of lodgement. And by doing this, we're then also able to gather information far more efficiently and in a more timely manner to make decisions faster. This helps us to, again, better understand the customer situation and provide the support they need earlier in their claim rather than waiting for information to come over many weeks and sometimes many months when we use paper-based solutions. In some instances, customers that put in a claim are unlikely ever to return to work. These could be people with catastrophic injuries such as acquired brain injuries, or could be people with spinal injuries who will just never be able to return to their normal work. These are tragic consequences, and we also know that in these situations, often people want more than just us to pay them their claim. And that could be an income protection claim where we pay ongoing payments, or it could be in a total and permanent disability type situation. Certainly with the ongoing payments with income protection, again, what we've found is people do want us to offer them more support and more assistance than just paying their claim. The way that we can do this is to actually link them to community services. It could be as simple as providing them access to a community support group in their local area that provides them with access to things like a men's shed, where they can actually interact with other people and get an understanding as what they can do in the community to help support them in the life that they've got at the moment. The other services that we can offer are also around integrating them with services that provide them with better support and better access to other medical and health services that can help to stabilise their life, help them to get supports, as I mentioned, in the community, but also to get them to interact with individuals that might be in similar circumstances to them as well. By providing these additional services, we find that we do get much better customer service scores from these members, and also a far better outcome both socially and for their own well-being. At MetLife, rehabilitation isn't just about providing the service once someone's claiming. We also want to look at how early we can actually be a support to a customer who has insurance with MetLife. Through our early intervention program, we're actually able to provide access to services such as rehabilitation even before the claim has been approved and finalised. So during the waiting period, when a person is most in need of support, that might be the time where we're best actually able to offer these other services such as a rehabilitation support program, or even just access to services that might find supportive or helpful in their current predicament. So by doing this, we actually build trust with the customer, but also provide them with the services that are actually relevant and required for them to get their health back and to get a better understanding of what they're able to do to support their condition and hopefully recover much faster. And by recovering faster, they get back to not just work, but also the things that mean the most to them.